Today we're going to look at equations with variables on both sides. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and draw a fence, a door, whatever, some way to divide the two sides of the equation. Then I'm going to go ahead and put a box over here, and then also a box over here. I'm going to label one letter alpha letter and the other one a number. And it doesn't matter which one I put where. Sometimes I have to kind of switch them around, but in this case, since I have numbers and letters on both sides, I'm going to put them on either side. So I'm going to start with my 5x, and I have to remember that it is a positive 5x. Since it's on the same side as my letter box, I'm just going to go ahead and drop them down into my box. Then I'm going to look at my negative 41. Now, again, it is negative because if I look to the future, it is a negative sign. So in order to go across my wall, my fence, my door, I need to take the opposite sign of it. So since it's a negative 41, I want to take a positive 41. Okay? Now I'm going to look at the other side, the right side of my equation. 59 is a number, it's on the same side, so I'm just going to go ahead and drop it down. And I'm going to put a positive 59. And then I have 9x, and it is a positive 9x, so in order to go across that wall again, I'm going to have to subtract 9x. Okay, now I'm good to go. I can go ahead and combine my boxes here. I have 5 and negative 9, and one thing that I am going to remember when I'm adding and subtracting numbers is I have a positive 5 here and then negative 9 over here. Since they're on opposite sides of the number line of my 0, I'm going to go ahead and subtract the two numbers. 9 minus 5 gives me 4, and I'm going to keep that x with it. But I do need to keep in mind that 9 is a lot larger number. My negative 9, as far as being away from that 0, is a lot further away from the 0. So he's going to be a negative 4x. Then I'm going to go ahead and go to the other side. And I've got a 41 and a 59. They're both on the same side of the number line of the 0. So I'm going to go ahead and add those together. And I get 100. Now the last step that I need to take is I can't leave a negative 4 inside with this x. Since the negative 4 and the x are connected to each other, I have to remember that anytime I'm dealing with my numbers here, I'm either multiplying or dividing. Since they're side by side, I'm multiplying, so that means I'm going to have to divide by negative 4. And I'm going to get negative 25 as my final answer. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take a look at another one. Again, I'm going to start with my fence. I'm going to draw my boxes. Okay, I'm going to label 1 letters and 1 numbers. Okay, now before I get started on this one, one thing I am going to do is right in front of this x here, I'm going to put the number 1. And 1, I consider this as my ghost number. We know that it's there, but we don't always see them. So I just made it so I could see that 1. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and drop a positive 1 down. 1x. Okay. 42 is negative, so in order to go to the other side, I have to add 42. My 98 is positive and is on the same side as my number box, so I'm just going to go ahead and drop them down. And my 9 is a negative 9, so in order to go to the other side, I have to add 9x. Then I'm ready to combine my boxes. 1 plus 9 is 10x. And I have to add over here, I get 140. And then I'm ready to take care of this 10 here. Again, remember I'm either multiplying or dividing. Since they're side by side, that means I'm multiplying. So that means I have to divide to get my final answer. And I get x equals 14. Okay. We're going to take a look at another one a little bit. You'll notice that it only has a letter on one side and a number and a letter on the other side. So again, I'm going to draw my fence, draw my boxes, and this time I'm definitely going to put my letter on my left side there just because there's just one letter on that side. It really doesn't matter. It's just a little bit less switching for me, and that's why I prefer that. Okay, so on this side here, I'm just going to go ahead and drop my positive 5x. My 12 go ahead and drops down. And again, I've got that invisible 1, and it is a negative. So instead of subtracting 1x, I'm going to add 1x because I'm going across my line right here. So I have 6 plus 1 is 6x. And then again, I have to remember that I need to get rid of this 6. So I'm either multiplying or dividing. Since I'm already multiplying, I need to divide by 6. So x equals 2. Okay, this is the last problem that we're going to look at today. And this time you will notice that instead of just a letter by itself, we have a number by itself. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my fence, draw my boxes. This time I'm going to go ahead and put my number box over here. And I'm going to put my letter box over here. I do have an invisible 1 in there. This 9 here, I'm going to go ahead and drop them. And if I do look to the future, it is a negative 9. I have 13 over here. I'm looking in the future, it's a positive, so in order for him to go to the other side, I need a negative 13. And then I'm going to go ahead and drop my negative 1x. Okay, again, thinking about my number line here. Everything is on the same side, so I'm going to go ahead and add those two to get these 9 and 13 together. And I get 22. And because they are all on the negative side of my number line, it's going to be a negative 22. Okay, now I do have a negative 1 here. So I am going to go ahead and either multiply or divide, because I just need a plain old 1. So divide by negative 1, divide by negative 1, x equals 22. Okay. I know I said that was my last problem, but I have one more that I do want to look at that has dividing instead of multiplying. So again, I'm going to go ahead and draw my fence, draw my boxes. This is going to be my number box. This will be my letter box. My 6 I'm going to go ahead and just drop down. My 2, since it's positive, looking in the future, is actually going to be negative. And then I'm going to go ahead and drop my x over 4 in. Okay, now I've got to go ahead and think about my operations over here. So they're on opposite ends of the number line. So one's positive, one's negative. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract. 6 minus 2 is 4. Now, because 6 is a lot further away from 0, it's going to end up being a positive 4 in this case. Okay, now I'm ready to deal with the rest of my letter box here. So again, remember I either have to multiply or divide. And since I see this and this, they kind of look similar, they're divide signs. I know that I'm already dividing. So that means I need to multiply to get rid of that 4. So 4 times 4 is 16.